Well, welcome back to Morning Live. You're on SABC2. Like we said, today we're talking more Human Rights Day, and we'll be crossing over to our different reporters at the different areas across the country, just to have a perspective of the events that are due to unfold for today's event. But for now, we cross over to Blaine Herman, who is at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. In fact, he's actually at the Moses Mabhida Stadium at this current moment. That is where the national main event will be held, where President Jacob Zuma is expected to deliver the keynote address. Let us talk to Blaine. Hi. Blaine, good morning to you and welcome to Morning Live.
Yeah, very good morning to you. The call is for South Africa to unite against racism. Now, it's an important theme considering the recent upsurge in apparent racist comments. You'll remember 2016 got off to a bit of a rocky start with name-calling and slurs, controversial social media comments, and it drew mass outrage and it drew mass reaction across all social media platforms as well as in political circles. Now, you'll remember that during his State of the Nation address, President Jacob Zuma urged all South Africans to confront the demon of racism and calling for a more coordinated national effort as well as pledges to fight racism at all levels. Now, it's with this in mind that the Human Rights Day 2016 is being commemorated as a National Day Against Racism. Now, I want to take you back a bit, some 56 years ago, the basis of Human Rights Day. And to help me do that, I've got a guest here. Dr. Bheki Mngomezulu is a historian. Doctor, thank you very much indeed for your time. It is indeed an important day, but let me take you back. 21 March 1960, a date that will indeed live in infamy, isn't it? Take us back to that event that I guess still haunts South Africa's history, Sharpeville Massacre.
Yeah, that was a very sad day indeed, because what happened on that day, we remember that the apartheid government was instituted in 1948 when the National Party under D.F. Malan came into power. And then immediately thereafter, there were a series of laws that were meant to suppress the black population. So we have the Defiance Campaign in 1952, we have the Freedom Charter in 1955, but then the PAC was then formed in 1959 when it split from the ANC. Immediately thereafter, it took it upon itself to mobilize black South Africans to make sure that they go to the nearest police station without their passes and then voluntarily ask the officials to incarcerate them. So without provoking the authorities then of course opened fire, and a number of people who died in the process. The estimated number is that 69 people died and 180 people were injured. So that was a sad day indeed, but it was Africans' response to the humiliating laws that were passed by the apartheid government at the time.
Indeed, devastating brutality. 69 people killed, over 180 people injured. Let's contextualize this event. It was a real turning point, isn't it, in South African history? How did it shape South Africa's current democracy?
Yeah, it did. It was a turning point indeed. So it's the Sharpeville incident of 1960 together with the 1976 uprising. Because we remember that there is no country that can operate in isolation. Up until that time, there were countries across the globe that were in denial that the apartheid government was suppressing black people. So immediately after the Sharpeville Massacre of 1960 and of course the 1976 uprising, the international community was made aware of the brutality of the apartheid government. Then immediately thereafter, it was easier for the ANC, which was now operating in exile, to mobilize the international community against the apartheid government. So then I would say that both the 1960 incident and of course the 1976 uprising played a critical role in bringing us to where we are right now, because the idea was that you cannot treat your fellow human beings in the manner that Africans were treated by the white minority at the time.
Racism, an important theme running across today's events. I mean, racism has been with us even before apartheid, through colonialism and through our democracy, isn't it? Historically, have we had enough conversation? Has there been enough dialogue in order to put paid to the scourge of racism?
Not at all, not at all. Maybe if we were to contextualize it, you must remember that as much as apartheid started in 1948, but you already had segregation. Herzog was one of the people who was instrumental in making sure that segregation was put in place. The only difference with D.F. Malan's National Party in 1948 was that he institutionalized what was already there. So the idea of a racial divide was already there. Blacks were seen as a different entity, colored was seen as a different entity, which dates back to 1904 and even far beyond that date. So basically then, what happened in 1994, what was supposed to happen didn't happen. In my view, it was because of the reconciliatory spirit in which we embraced the new political dispensation. So there are a number of things we were supposed to discuss, which we didn't discuss in the name of reconciliation. And this is what is coming back to haunt us right now. Had we come out strongly against the racial divide in 1994, or even during the CODESA talks, I think that would have averted the current situation. Right now, I think it's too late because the damage has already been done, and there are people who are growing up under racism, and the elderly people are not in any way prepared to repent from their racial remarks that they are making against the other races.
Just before you wrap up, I know, there's lots of work to be done, obviously. But during Human Rights Day, do we have reasons to celebrate? I'm sure there's been a lot of achievements that this government has made, that the people of South Africa, together, united, have made over the years.
Absolutely. The mere fact that there are people who are now free to say the kinds of things they say in the social media and all other types of media and get away with it means that, of course, people are free. Remember that during the old days, if you made certain utterances, you would end up in jail, and some of you would not come back. So basically, there have been giant strides that have been made by the current government since 1994. Of course, there is still a long way to go, but I think that we can in fact celebrate that we have achieved a lot since 1994.
Dr. Bheki Mngomezulu, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much indeed for your time. That was Dr. Bheki Mngomezulu. He's a historian, just giving us some insight in terms of where we came from and where we are at this present time, and I guess looking forward to the future. There's still lots more to be coming from here, the Mngomezulu Stadium. This is where the national event is going to be held, right here, and President Jacob Zuma will be delivering an address to the nation. That's coming up at around 11:30 or so stick around, but we'll be chatting to you in a little while. But for now, it's back to Johannesburg.